Perfect.
Would you like to support the Insiders? Pick up some merch now. Support us by getting a shirt, a hoodie, support Abby's window, get a Shenanigans shirt, whatever you'd like. Pick up some merch now. Insiders Pro Wrestling. The link is at the end of the video.
Insiders Chat. What do you want to talk about? I kind of like that as an intro, you know? I mean, it kind of fits. Welcome to Sunday night. We are here for another episode of Between the Ropes, and man, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. Just like Cody did on his first night as champion, we have a lot to go over. It's been a while. We missed TNA, which, you know, we don't like to do. Sometimes things happen, and mostly a lot of it's on me because I just have a crazy schedule and stuff going on now with my impending surgery and everything that's coming up. So a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of being on the phone with companies and so on and so forth. So, but yeah, so I'm happy to be here. Jeff, just a ton of stuff on the plate tonight, man, from all different aspects of wrestling. It's just not one play. I mean, we saw Jon Moxley is now the champion of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah. I mean, it's just coming from everywhere right now in the pro wrestling business. So it's I always say this, Jeff, but look, we just got over WrestleMania. Sometimes there's a letdown because of all the excitement going up to that. But I don't know. To me, I'm not seeing any letdown. It's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan.
Very exciting time to be a wrestling fan. And, you know, I think WWE made mention of this several times, just talking about them real quick. They talked about a new era. I think we're seeing that play out in front of our very eyes. I do have a little bit of a bone to pick with WWE. I'll get to that later. But yeah, I mean, everyone is just doing great right now, all companies. And listen, I'll say this tonight, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So just buckle up. It should be fun. I just want to set the tone though, and just say we all have our opinions. Everyone has their own unique opinions. That's what makes you you. Yep. We don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree and do so in a manner that's respectful. So I just want to set that foundation. Yeah, bonus baby. They said it a lot. I just want to set that foundation as we get into this because, you know, listen, everyone, I feel like I've seen so many people post videos about this CM Punk AEW All In footage. I've seen people come out of the woodwork. So of course we're going to talk about that tonight. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for the episode. I'll stop yapping so we can get going.
No, and you can listen. You guys out there have listened to us for a long time. You know where we come from, right? You know we're not here to say stuff because it's popular, to say stuff because we're trying to get clicks on a video. We don't do that. So what we say comes from the heart, and what we say is things that we genuinely feel about wrestling. And are you always going to agree? No, but listen, that's why we're human beings, and that's how this kind of stuff works. Not everyone's always going to necessarily agree on our opinions, but this is why we do this show, is because we give you our opinions. So yeah, well said. And yeah, look, the only thing I would have loved there, Jeff mentioned the good, the bad, and the ugly. We should have had the
Yeah.
that would have been, would have been appropriate right there. But I digress. But yeah, look, there's a lot of things going on. Some, like Jeff said, some good, some bad, and some just downright ugly. And when I listen to, I gauge a lot of what I think about in wrestling from listening to other shows, as creators do. You listen to other things and other people doing their thing. And you guys all know I listen to Busted Open a lot, and they were, again, I listen to them every single day on their podcast. They were very up and down. One day was up here. The next day was kind of down here. The next day was kind of, middle of both. So it's been that way. And tonight is going to reflect that. So
Yep.
Yeah, just to get you prepared. So Buckle up. So yes, and get ready. Let me see, just welcome some people in here and then go over our schedule really quickly. We've got Christopher, we got DRO, we got Clown, we have John G is here, we have Derek Fleming. I knew you never usually chime in on things, but I'm dropping truth bombs. John G is here, as I said. Christopher, we got Dylan is here. James Chadwick is here. What's up, James? Sean Suslowitz is here. Hey, Sean, welcome.
What's up, Sean?
We got Brandon Davey, Big Dan, we got Jeremy Dunderman, a member of the channel. Thank you so much for being a valued member of our channel. We really appreciate you. We've got Jason Stoffer. We got Brandon Davey. We have Jason Peace. Yeet. We have we have some no yeets. We have Barry Monkey in the chat. We have Anthony Slade as well. Welcome to another longtime member of our channel. Thank you so much, Anthony. We appreciate it for being a member of our channel. Jason Stoffer. We've got yes, the NBA playoffs are starting soon. Today was the last day. My Celtics, the number one record in the league. They are well in the number one seed and have the number one seed throughout the entire playoffs for as long as they may go. So we'll see. Maybe this is the year for my Celtics, knock on wood. We shall see. Let's see who else joined us here. Swack Fan is here as well. Bonus Baby, I think I mentioned. Christopher Segovia is here. Welcome to you. James Grant is here. The champ is here. Michael King is here. Heather, hello. Heather, don't usually make it to the Sunday show, but I'm here. Welcome, Heather. Nice to see you. Deanna is here. Welcome, Deanna. Jason Peace, welcome to you. Conrad is in the house. Hello, Conrad. Conrad, one of those people mentioned that, one of those content creators that you should give a listen to. He had some very poignant things to say throughout the course of this week.
And you know what? I'm glad that he's here because I'm definitely going to mention him later on because, well, I'll go into it, but just know I have all the respect in the world for Conrad and enjoy watching his content. Like Joe said, go subscribe. But I want to, talk about him, and how much I respect him here in a little bit. So,
yep. Brandon Davey Mark is here from Facebook. Hello, Mark. How are you? Let's see. Alexa Bliss Gamer 0809 is here. Jason Peace. is here, and I think we're caught up. Okay, so what we've got coming up, Aew'S is to be announced. We will let you know because of the work schedules for, of course, Jody and Jeff. One big thing on Aew'S, though, that you want to keep in mind, we are going to have Kyle Scarborough. Now, those of you who have been with us over the years, you know who he is, and he is going to come on our show. He's going to have a chance to talk and to show some things behind the scenes. We all, you guys all know, he worked with Bray, he was friends with Bray, worked with him about all the, the plans of his character and a lot of the artwork. Of course, Kyle is a very talented artist, and helped him along the way with a lot of those things. We've had him on before. He's told us the story that he got the call when The Fiend debuted, of course, when he was at a Tool concert, and stuff like that. So he is coming back. It's going to be very, very interesting to listen to what he has to say. He wasn't included. I shouldn't even say necessarily. He wasn't included in the document and
completely omitted.
Yeah, and it sucks. A lot of times the people behind the scenes, writers and such, I know this from the comic book industry and things like that, they don't get included, and it sucks because they're such a big part of it. But anyway, keep your eyes ears open for that, because we will be coming out with that soon. That'll be on Aew'S. Of course, I will join the team for that also. And then we have TNA wrestling. We have a double dose of TNA this week, guys. We have TNA on Thursday, which is a go-home show, and then we have TNA. It's Rebellion, yes?
Rebellion, I believe, yeah.
TNA Rebellion is this coming Saturday, so big week for TNA. I did get to watch the show last week. It was a lot of fun. We had a Monsters Ball match on there between Big Con and PCO. So yeah, there were tax involved. I'm sure Jeff loved that. But they
gotta love it. Gotta love tax, man. Just gotta love it.
A lot of tax sticking in people's heads and back.
Yeah,
and it was a mess. So as you might expect, but yeah, so that's what's coming up on the channel. We've got a lot of things to do and a lot to talk about. So we're gonna get started. Make sure nobody else popped in here. I think I got everyone. I think I did get everyone out there. So welcome on, guys. We're gonna get started. We have a lot to discuss, as we said. And we start, as always, with some breaking news. Again, I always try to think of what's top of mind here. Other than the stuff that we've seen on the programs and things, not really sure. And I don't know, Jeff. I guess you can almost consider this breaking news again, because it seems to be happening every day. But guys, I know there's a lot of people very happy for this, but we are in for another ride, folks, because we are getting Uncle Howdy stuff daily. Whether it's from WWE on their Twitter, that they delete the posts, or whether it's at the events. And that song, I can't get that. That song is stuck in my head now, by the way. I have it on Apple Music. It's actually good. I like old jazz. I do. And I like that kind of stuff that sounds like it's from the 30s and 40s, even though that was made in the 2019. I think that album came out. Very creepy. So I remember my wife was listening to it. She's like, wow, that's a little creepy. I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. But there is breaking news for this, Jeff, because Eric Rowan, it has been out there. I know C Wrestling reported on it, that he cannot make his commitments to the other wrestling shows that he was supposed to be at. And now a lot of people are assuming and he says he's how would he word it? Contractually obligated somewhere else. So a lot of people are feeling that he is going to show up as part of this. Now they're referring to themselves, Jeff, as Us. So now people are thinking more of a faction, whether it could be Howdy and Alexa, and whether it could be Rowan and then Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman was just interviewed also recently saying, hey, I'm just about good to go. I'm just waiting for a doctor to say, yes, go. And so we may be getting a faction, Jeff, from this. But in either case, and Jeff, just let me ask you this, because, I know everybody's excited. C Wrestling is putting out videos and stuff like that, and it's almost like we're back to being excited in the status quo and stuff like that. And I did see out there, and I couldn't kind of believe it, and I was a little bit taken aback by it. But again, I saw it on Twitter, and you can never, Twitter can be ridiculous. But I did see a few people out there saying that it's too soon, that they understand the tributizing and all of that, but the comments were not positive as I would have expected, because to me, I look at it like, if Bo wants to do this, and this is what he wants to do, to tributize his brother, then he should do it. This is what he should do, and the fans are gonna love it, because they just are. But I don't know. This fan put out a little paragraph saying that it's taking away from because Bray's not going to be there and he's gone, that it's taking away from that, and that they probably should have went in a different direction, and he should have used another character or something. Yeah, that's his opinion, obviously, but yeah, I mean, what do you think about this, Jeff? Do you think, personally, I like it for this reason, and I'm going to get into more of this later. I'm going to segue into this is one of the questions that is in our sell or no sell, but I like it, Jeff, because I think we are in a little bit of a time, comparing it to Marvel. I love Marvel movies.
Yeah.
That after post Endgame was a very difficult time for Marvel, because you are coming off a defeat of the big bad villain, the guy who was out there the entire run of those movies, and then he went down, and then Marvel kind of went down with it. And so in any storyline, whether it's wrestling, movies, or whatever, the bad guys make the story. If you don't have that great bad guy, you don't have the stories. So I think this comes, Jeff, at a good time. I don't know if they're going to be heels. Maybe they're going to be tweeners. I don't know. But I think, Jeff, that in this time we're in, because you've got that big, huge face out there right now as your champ, I think this is a good timing for this, because it is going to add some flavor to the Ultimate storylines.
Yeah, I agree. And, again, with matters like this, these are really uncharted waters, because this doesn't happen. Thankfully, it doesn't happen very often where we lose, such wonderful people in their prime. But I think from a fan perspective, how I look at it is, as long as his family is good,
right,
and I know that it's not like there's some random free agent that they sign that says, "Oh yeah, he's going to pick up the story as his brother."
right.
I can see both sides. I can see people being kind of leery of it, but I think ultimately what the family wants, and how I feel Taylor is going to do this, I'm on board. I'm excited about it, because it gives us a little peek into that world again, and it connects us, through Taylor to Bray, and keeping that bond still there, and I think it'll give fans of Bray an opportunity to root for Taylor as well. So I can see both sides, but for me as a fan, if the family's good with it, Taylor's going to do this in honor of his brother, I'm all behind it, and I support him 100%.
Yeah, I agree. Why not, right? I mean, it's a way for the fans to always remember. Hell, I just got my new Fiend shirt in the mail the other day, which is fantastic. And look, I know that if they come out with more merch for this kind of thing that they're going to do, I'm all in. And look, who knows? C suggested that maybe this song, the Mockingbird, maybe we're going to get a similar thing with the White Rabbit in a bird form, and that's where this is going to go. It seems like it's starting a similar way, and everybody loved it. That was huge for WWE. So yeah, I'm good with it too. Again, it's if the family's ready for it, like Jeff said, then it's all good. So I just want to see if some people popped in here quick. I think it's just Sean said flew to St. Louis to have Kyle do a Fiend piece. Very cool. That's awesome. RK Shuttlesworth, Coaster Maniacs is in here. What's up, Coaster? How are you, dude? Hope you're well. Ben Miller, hello to you. And I think Andrea is here. Hi, Andrea. Brandon Davey is here, and yes, okay, so we're caught up. But yeah, so that's kind of the breaking stuff. And what you're also going to see is you're going to see a lot of creators, a lot of content creators that you maybe thought were gone are now going to see this and be like, bloop, whoa, look what came back. Just remember, guys, the originals, right? Just remember the originals. Obviously C's been doing this stuff forever. We've been doing it all through, and I always praise Jeff and Jody because they stuck with this all throughout the entire time. Even when Bray had we all know the story now, right? That Bray left for creative differences and things like that because the story kind of stalled a little bit, and Bray got upset and stuff. So we know that from the documentary, but we stuck with Aew'S all the way through. They did, and so yeah, we just remember who brung it to the dance, so to speak, because yeah, you're gonna see everybody out there that does a wrestling show is gonna latch right on to this, and because it listen, it gets views. So you're gonna see it. Noob and Company is here. What's up, Noob? Go ahead, Jeff.
And Joe, no, I just wanted to mention, I know we talked about breaking news and talking about TNA Rebellion this weekend, but I also want to mention AEW Dynasty. That's going to be on Sunday.
Yes.
Some really good matches. I'm really looking forward to I'm looking forward to that AEW World Championship. Swerve Strickland and Samoa Joe. Really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be. I mean, and also you got Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay. I mean, come on, that's going to be nuts. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there too. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good pay-per-view. So if you want to check it out, I encourage you to. I will be some way somehow. So yeah.
Also, want to call one quick piece of attention to Edge's speech, Adam Copeland, of course, speech that he made. If you haven't heard that, it wasn't this past AEW. I think it was the one before, the week before that, where he came out and spoke about wrestling tribalism. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. If you haven't heard that, you really should watch it, even if you don't really watch AEW. It was fantastic. He is talking about what we talk about a lot on this show, and about how we're all wrestling fans, right? He mentioned WWE during his speech, and the crowd started to boo, and he stopped them and said, "No. That's what I mean. We're not gonna boo the other company. We all want to be. We're all wrestling fans, and we all want to." I loved it. One of the best speeches I think I've ever heard Adam Copeland make, and that's including WWE. So yeah, it's there. There's good coming from everywhere. Sometimes you have to sort through some crap to get to it, but there is good out there. So yeah, like Jeff said, it's and that AEW pay-per-view should be a good card. We might see a big time title change, which is going to be really, really fun to see. If it happens. So we'll see. But yeah, there you can see up on the screen. That was another one of those glitches that we're getting. You forgot about us. And that was the Twitter thing we got to. It also said that. So yeah, it just really, really seems like they're getting into gear with this. They're just starting out with these little glitches and everything. We don't know when it's going to be or when anyone's going to appear. It's anyone's guess. A lot of people are theorizing. Maybe it's Alexa Bliss. Also, maybe it is Nikki Cross. Maybe it is, there are all kind of theories going on around as to who this could be. But in any case, it's going. We're hearing the song. The song is playing in little parts. So they played the first verse, and then they played a second verse, and I'd imagine that will keep going. But yeah, it's this stuff's fun. People just enjoy it. There's the other glitch there. Of course, during Bronson Reed's, so everybody's going to be watching for this soon. If they start doing the QR codes again, people will start watching for those. And you got to admit, it was fun. It was really fun to do. Sitting there like a goof with my phone, trying to catch a glimpse of that and take a picture so I can go to the website and all this stuff. And then everybody's looking for stuff and puzzles and all that. That's just fun. Mystery stuff is fun. As human beings, we're meant to try to solve things. And yeah, it's just going to be a fun thing. And hopefully, get us out of the somber mood that we were all in after Bray had passed, and kind of get back into it a little bit and relive really what his vision was. So yeah, so it's kind of cool, very cool. All right, man, let's move on. I guess we'll get to the news, Jeff, huh?
Yeah, we'll count that as us going over the Uncle Howdy teases and all that. But Joe, obviously last weekend we were here for WrestleMania 40.
Yeah, it seems like it's so far away now,
I
and it
know,
was just last weekend.
I know. Just what did you think about the two nights and just all the action that we saw? And same questions to the chat.
A whirlwind, really, is how I can explain it. So so much good things to talk about on both shows. I will say I did like night 2 better than night 1. I thought overall night 2 was better, but that's not to say that night 1 was bad. The energy in the crowd, the energy just surrounding everything in Philadelphia, whether it be from the ECW arena having parties there, and whether it's the fan experience going to that in the Philadelphia Civic Center where everybody was out signing autographs. A friend of mine who got to go was showing me pictures of himself in the Funhouse. He was in the Brave Funhouse set, and all that kind of stuff is just amazing. It's an amazing experience that people who have went, and my friend told me he'll never forget it. It was just something, he will never forget in his lifetime because it was so cool. Man, I've been doing this show for 4.5 years, whatever it is. I very seldom ever get predictions right. Jeff's the one who does. But the fact that I called Undertaker coming into that match, man, that's something I'll remember forever because I never get that crap right. And then when he showed up, I saw the reaction thing that you posted on the Aew'S. That is, again, what wrestling is all about to me. That feeling that you're just seeing. And I told everybody this before that match came, that you're going to be taken on a ride during that match. You're going to think many times that Cody is going to lose. And that's what happened. Jimmy came down. You're like, oh no, here we go again. Now, and he got past that one, right? Because of Jay. And then you had to get Solo comes down. And you're like, oh, here we go. He's going to give him the spike. And then Roman's going to pin. And then he got saved by John Cena. And then all of a sudden The Rock comes down. And everybody's dreading, like, oh my God. And then the Undertaker shows up. People got pics of him crawling out from underneath the ring, which is fantastic. There were little shots of him underneath there and stuff. But this is why I love this. This is why I love this sport and why I love this show, because it entertains me. The underdog story of Sami Zayn over Gunther, which hats off to Gunther, man. What a run he had with that title. The little details like Seth dyeing his damn hair. Seth dyed his own hair in between his matches to come back out and look like the Seth in the Shield at the end. And all he did was come in and take a chair shot from that. And I'll tell you, Seth looked absolutely wiped out. I mean, they were carrying him out of there. They had him on their shoulders walking him, so he just looked exhausted. The whole thing with Drew and how Drew got so cocky and then he got cost the title in 5 seconds. I mean, what a letdown for him. But it was a moment to me and I mentioned it earlier, sitting in a movie theater watching Avengers Endgame, and when you had that hopelessness where everything was lost, and Captain America standing there with a cracked shield and getting back up and bloodied and everything like that, and you think he's done. Thanos and his whole army is there, and then all of a sudden you hear on your left, and all of the superheroes start appearing in different places. The whole audience goes crazy, and that's what it reminded me of during Cody's match. It brings back that it was such a sense of, and then when Cody won and the place just exploded. And one thing I noticed there, Jeff, not a soul left that building.
Right.
No one left their seats. No one. And usually in events like that, where there's so many people like to get the hell out of there. Trust me, I've been in Philly. You don't want to get caught in that traffic leaving that place because you'll be there for 2.5, 3 hours. So sometimes people like to grab their stuff, be like, yeah, let's go. Let's get out of here now. Let's get it. And no one left their seats. Everybody stood where they were. Bailey having a fantastic moment, which I thought was great for her. She gets to win a title and has an awesome moment. Matches, I'm sure I'm forgetting, but it was just, to me, Jeff, I don't know that I can say it's number one for me because sentimental for me, WrestleMania 3, I think will always be top for me just because of when I was watching that and the fact that we saved up our money, my friends and I did to rent that tape because it cost a lot because it was like 3 cassettes or something like that back then. Trying to get it because no one had the damn thing. So that always is going to stick with me. But this definitely, Jeff, I would say is in my top 5, maybe my top 3. But it was fantastic. And look, I got to share it with one of my best friends in Jeff, with all of you guys, and all the other insiders, family, of course, Tazzy and Jody. So what more can I ask? I just had a ball. I had a ball.
Yeah. I will say this. I had a friend in the business who told me if at the end of the show you've made fans feel multiple emotions,
Yes.
you've done your job.
Yep.
I was entertained.
Yep.
I was happy. I was sad. I was frustrated. I cried, happy tears.
Yep.
I will say that I am so glad that I got a chance to watch the main event of night 2 with my son this weekend.
Yeah.
I asked him when I picked them up on Friday, I said, hey, do you know who won? And he told me, yeah, I know who won. I said, have you seen the match? He said, no. I said, well, did anyone tell you anything else about the match? And he said, no. I was like, all right, perfect. So I put it on, and both my son and my daughter were sitting there watching it. And there, as you get all of the surprises and different things going on in that main event between Cody and Roman, like they were at times they were up on their feet, they were holding their head, it was so fun to watch, and I'll never forget that. And I think, like you said, I mean, WrestleMania 3 holds a special place in my heart. WrestleMania 10 also as well. You can't forget about Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. I mean, you just can't. So, I mean, I enjoyed this one. It's in my top 5, I'll say. Especially night 2. I thought night 1 was well done. I will say that I think this is the best 2-night WrestleMania that they've had. Going back however many years when they started the 2 nights, but yeah, it was a great time, and just awesome to see people having fun and enjoying the product, enjoying wrestling, because that's what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about enjoying it and having fun, like Conrad said in the chat. It all too often it leads to arguments and things that it shouldn't. But yeah, I mean, it was fun, and that's what wrestling is all about. It's about taking you on that emotional journey.
Yeah. The one thing, Jeff, I will say too, is what a relief and what an amount of happiness and stuff that I noticed coming from the wrestlers themselves.
Right.
That to me makes me happy because we all know as fans, we heard all the rumors, and they probably weren't rumors, about how the locker room was getting so frustrated because who was in Gorilla again. And listen, guys, we talked a little bit about this with Tazzy and Jody after the show, but we sat through this. We know. We watched Raw when it was god awful. You couldn't watch 3 hours of Raw. It was terrible. And that was all when who was in charge. The storylines were convoluted, to say the least. Nothing made sense. It was all over the place, and it was awful. Now you can see that the person in charge is a person they respect. I think I'll even go as so much to say not only do they respect him, but I think they love the guy. I do. And the fact that Stephanie came back, dude, who would ever thought that Stephanie would set foot back there again, especially after what her father may or may not have done. It's crazy to me, and you can certainly see it. You could certainly see it in the wrestlers' faces. You can certainly see, that something has changed. And I think it's a change, obviously, for the way better for them and way better for the wrestlers, and a wonderful working environment, I think. And to me, that's just another part of the whole story. But yeah, I just think it's wonderful, and I'm really happy that that happened for them. And man, Triple H deserves all the kudos in the world, Jeff. I think people are probably not going to give him his due, but and Jeff, even remember when we started back, we were still, I think, watching Raw and SmackDown when Triple H took over.
Yeah,
we were a little critical. We're like, well, this didn't really change, guys. It takes a while. It takes a while to get somebody's, somebody who comes in, like a new CEO or something, to get their vision in place. It does take a long time. And so, but his vision is now in place. And it just shows. It just shows in all the wrestlers. So, yeah, man, I think they're in a good place going forward. They're, like I said, I'll get to it in sell or no sell, because there may be one little thing I have a concern about, but it's very small. But yeah, it was just a fun weekend. It really, really was. I loved everything about it, and it seemed to me like a lot of people had a great WrestleMania weekend.
Yep.
All right, what do we got? What do we got next?
All right, up next we have. This was a shocking moment from Friday night. But do we have a new era with the bloodline, Joe?
Certainly looks that way, doesn't it? Wow. Yeah. Who would have thought, man? And of all people, the quiet ones are always the ones that you always have to watch out for, right? Solo Sikoa, who we haven't heard more than 2 words out of this entire run, practically, it seems like, when Roman was there, and now all of a sudden he speaks. Not only does he speak, but boy, oh boy, man, did he take out Jimmy. And Tonga shows up. Dude, it looks as if, Jeff, that way, and again, this is where you kind of think as a wrestling fan, well, what the hell are they going to do now? Roman's gone, right? Roman's not there. Where are they going to go with this? And you saw, Heyman. How about that scene where they walked? It was like they were all sad. They walked to the back, and Cody's name was on the door. They were locked out of the. and then Solo looked pissed, and you hear Heyman. They're like, "Well, he won, and this is what happens when the champion is different." And that was, but Solo wasn't having it. And this is why this is so brilliant, because, guys, this goes back to the tree being shown at the press conference. Things are being planted in the back of your mind that you probably didn't even remember. But this can go in so many ways now. Obviously, Jimmy, he's out. So now, more than likely, he will join back up with his brother. They'll get back together, and we could have tag team matches going on between those 4. At some point, if Roman does come back, maybe The Rock is the one behind the scenes pulling the strings here. And we don't know that yet. Maybe The Rock is in charge of this new faction of the bloodline, right? And then when Roman comes back, will Roman be a face? Will he join up with Jimmy and Jay? So all of this intrigue starts it all over again. And everybody probably was a little afraid. Well, what the hell's going to happen with the bloodline? This is going to die? If Roman's not going to be there anymore, where the hell are they going to go? Well, you saw it. You saw where they're going to go. They're going to recruit more people. They've got, Jacob Fatu is on his way. They can have a whole new thing going here, Jeff. And man, I feel a little bad for Paul because Paul's intimidated, dude. Paul's not ruling the rooster. He tried to call Roman, and his phone got slapped right out of his hands.
Yep.
So obviously Roman isn't doing this. And he's not running the show anymore, but man, I love it. Conrad's mentioned in Survivor Series War Games, Bloodline Civil War writes itself, doesn't it? It writes itself. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. It could be that, but look, the Bloodline is going to go on and on and on because look, in a good gangster flick, when the mob boss is taken down, there's always the next one to rise up and take his place. So, and a lot of times it's the quiet ones. It's not the ones that bring the attention to themselves. It's the quiet ones that rise up. So, keeping this must-see TV. And even though I was a little nervous thinking, well, no more Cody, no more Roman. Cody's not involved in it anymore. Roman's not involved in it anymore. How are they going to do this? Got to hand it to the man. And I'm sure, Jeff, that Hall of Famer Paul Heyman is involved with this storyline too. I'm sure behind the scenes.
Yeah, I would say so. And I mean, again, I've heard some folks over the last several days talk about how this thing is playing out, and we've said this quite a few times on this channel, but it's like a gangster movie. It's like a mob movie
100%.
Playing out right in front of you every single week. And you always get to that point where the young one comes up and he sat under the leader for a while, and now he thinks because you took an L and you got punched on the chin that I can do things better. I'm not going to be as weak. And I think, like Conrad said, I think it's going to lead to something at Survivor Series. And honestly, I mean, just think about this. Think about the last several years of Roman Reigns. Now think about him as a baby face again, because I think that's where they're going.
I do too.
So I mean, it's been a great ride, but I think it's gonna be just as good. I mean, honestly, I think it's gonna be just as good.
Yeah, I agree. Look, they're just going to keep on making SmackDown must-see TV. And Cody's obviously moving on. He's going to face either LA Knight or AJ Styles. And you know what? I'm down for either one of those. We all know what LA Knight can do and how popular he is. But man, if it is indeed AJ Styles as Cody's first defense, that's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good. We know what AJ is all about. And so either way, that's going to be good stuff. And then we're getting the draft. So a lot of this may be turned upside down a little bit. You might get some people moving from one show to another. I told you guys, I think Cody's going to be on SmackDown. I just do. I think he's going to move. And, and then you'll have Damian Priest on Raw, of course, with that title. Some people are saying that, of course, Drew McIntyre may take that title off of him right away when they go to Scotland, and you may see that happen. And then, of course, Punk waiting in the wings at some point. But yeah, it's just moving parts and pieces. But not only that, Jeff, are you getting that? But they're also introducing, and again, it's the little things. Braun Breaker had just a squash matches yesterday. So they're already bringing him in strong as heck, right? Yeah. And so Tiffany Stratton now being introduced a little bit into storylines, right? And so they're working the young talent back in as well. But yeah, this is gonna be fun, man. And everybody thought, and plus, let's talk about the Rock and Cody thing quick. People may have thought it was, and I know Philadelphia was chanting, "This is awkward." At times it was a little weird. I will say that. Yes. When he asked him to see his belt, I'm like, what's he doing here? Like, what's he doing? Is this an intimidation thing? And I kept thinking he was just going to belt him with it. I just thought he was going to smack him over the head with the title. And that's how it was going to go. But then they changed the titles. You can kind of get it, because when he comes back, He's going to challenge Cody for the title. Cody, I think, then in return will say, all right, if you're challenging me, I want your people's title too. You put that up, I put mine up. We get whoever wins gets both, which makes a hell of a lot of sense, guys, because who's the people's champion right now? It's Cody Rhodes. So if he wins that title, it kind of just fits. But then you got that whole thing. What did Rock put in Cody's hand? You got that mystery. What is that? Is it a watch? Is it a piece of jewelry? Is it nobody knows, but that's waiting in the wings. We don't know when Rock's coming back. And a lot of people, Jeff, were talking about this. We may not see The Rock until the debut of WWE on Netflix.
Yep.
And how big of a rating would that get if they scheduled that match for that night, wherever that happens to be? First match, first main event is Cody versus The Rock on Netflix. Holy cow. So yeah, it's awesome, Jeff. The stuff they're doing, they just right now, and that map they showed, sellout after sellout after sellout after sellout. They're selling out every arena they go into, every single one, and it's must see TV. It's must see live. I'm gonna be interested to see, because the last time they came up to Wilkes-Barre, where I am, that place was almost half empty. And that doesn't seat that much. It's a hockey arena generally. So you're talking about 17,000 people tops. But I'll bet you now when they come, that I bet you it's sold out everywhere they've been going. So whatever they're doing, it's working. I love what they're doing, and I love this bloodline stuff, and I love that they're letting it continue to go forward.
Yeah, it's been great. My one beef with WWE right now is that we were promised that behind the scenes thing, and we didn't get it unless there's been some announcement, because I'm not really on social media. But have you heard anything about that?
I looked into that because I was pissed too. I was ready to watch that on Wednesday and I was so mad when it didn't come out. So what happened was they came out with a correction, and they said they apologized for it, but they said that they're compiling footage from WrestleMania to put into it. That's why. Okay. Because they had to get all the stuff from WrestleMania itself, because they wanted to put that in there, I guess, as the capper for it. And then I'm sure they'll probably include The Rock, given that whole conversation with The Rock and Cody at the end too, that it's about The Rock mostly coming back. So so that was the reason they gave, is that they wanted to add extra footage into it. So it took me, oh my God, did I have to dig to find that? There was no answer coming from anyone. That people were asking, they were on social media, they were tagging Peacock and all this stuff, and nobody was giving them an answer. And then I found out that they came out with that announcement saying that, yes, we're sorry, we're compiling extra footage to get into that documentary. So it's coming.
Kind of wish they would have used a TV spot, just
right?
Because it. Again, not everybody is going to go digging for it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But yeah, I was a little perturbed, I'll say. But yeah, I think that WWE, they're doing a great job. And what I'll say is this, like them, hate them, love them, whatever the case may be, it's kind of undeniable that when they do well, they do really well. They knock it out of the park. Hopefully we don't get times like we've had in recent years, because man, did it suck. But they are they're hitting a stride right now, I'll say. They've got a lot of interesting stories going, not just at the top, but throughout the roster. And you got to give them credit for them doing as well as they are. There are going to be missteps, and I think if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, the way that Triple H is running things, supposedly he's listening to the fans. So if there's something that you don't like, hopefully they listen. But yeah, they're doing well. So got to give them kudos. Got to give them credit. They're doing a great job with building. I mean, think about the level of babyface that Cody is right now. Not many wrestlers in history can say that they have had that type of elevation and, just beloved by so many. Now, I will say this: we're going to talk about this in Sell or No Sell. Um, I'm already seeing some stuff that we kind of predicted. But I will say that I think it's just getting started with Cody. I think this is going to be a great time for him, great opportunity for him to showcase the fact that he's deserving of where he is.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Again, good time to be a fan of WWE. They're really in a much better place, and like I said, we can be critical of them as well. And like Jeff and I said, man, they did not just a few years ago. I had said it. Raw was unwatchable. We stopped doing Raw watch-alongs because it was just terrible. We couldn't sit through it. We're sitting there and like, this is terrible. We're seeing garbage on there week to week, and it wasn't the wrestlers' fault. The wrestlers are told to do what they do. We know whose fault it was, and it was just all garbage. There was nothing coming into. There was no cohesive storylines. It was 3 hours worth of boring garbage, and that wasn't that long ago. So they've come a long way. They've come a long way. So
Yeah.
yep. All right, man. What do we got next?
Well, since we talked about Howdy, Joe, I guess we can get to the elephant in the room and discuss
Yeah,
might as well get to it. So, AEW. Let me start here. I want to set the table first, Joe.
Yep.
I typically don't do this, but I want to set the table.
Yeah.
So before WrestleMania, CM Punk was on Ariel Hawani's show, the MMA Hour.
Yes.
He gave an interview with Ariel. He was asked questions. He answered questions.
Yep.
I don't pretend to know the ins and outs. All I know is soon after we got this announcement saying that the backstage footage from All In, where there was an altercation between CM Punk and Jack Perry, was going to be aired. And then we got the footage on Wednesday. So I just want to ask this before we go into it. And I want to get everyone's opinions in the chat. Joe, when you first saw this announced that they were going to release this footage, I guess A, did you think it was really going to be the footage? And B, what did you make of the announcement itself, given that, the reason why it seemed like it got started because of the CM Punk interview?
Did I think it was going to be the actual footage? No. I thought it was going to be some sort of swerve. The Young Bucks have been known to do some swervy things and some kind of off the cuff funny type stuff. And I kind of thought that was what it was going to be. I didn't think, I thought, I'm almost kind of thinking that they might play something completely out of the, take it crossed my mind, a Scooby-Doo cartoon or something stupid and put it up on the screen. Or some kind of a fight between someone in some kind of movie somewhere. That's what I thought it was going to be. The announcement itself, look, in a way, their ratings have been sliding. The ratings were up, so they did get more people that tuned in. So and that's kind of where I thought it was going, because you guys know what the term clickbait is. We know it being in YouTube, right? On YouTube, it's a thumbnail on a video that gets that just puts out this huge thing that's going to get all kinds of attention, and it's a bunch of nonsense. You go to it, and it's really none of what that exclaims it's going to be, or it's very, very misleading. And I kind of just thought, all right, they're just going to try to get a bump in ratings here. So they're going to put this announcement out saying that this footage is going to be shown and blah, blah, blah. And it worked. They got a lot of people. They got more people than they have had watching the show. So it did work in that respect, right? And then, so no. Did I think it was going to be the footage? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm of the same. I thought that I didn't think it was going to be real. I thought that it was going to be kind of like a spoof, like maybe even taking some folks in the back and kind of a reenactment, kind of deal that you see on some of these shows. But again, I didn't even really, I didn't want to just guess. So I was like, okay, maybe this is just to hype it up and then we get swerved and get something else. Like, did you really think we were going to show that? But yeah, I was shocked. And honestly, well, I guess, let me, I'll go here first. It wasn't like CM Punk went out of his way to address AEW.
Right.
He was asked questions. He answered those questions. Um, Unlike Tony Khan, when he was in the similar position to answer questions when Ariel Helwani asked him questions, it was all about NDAs. I can't get into that. Don't want to talk about that. He just wanted to promote his show. And that's fine. That's fine. But when you're asked the tough questions, you need to, something has to give. Like maybe you don't want to give everybody all the details, but address it in some kind of way, because what this did, I feel, was it garnered Tony Khan, the Young Bucks, and AEW all lumped in. It garnered them a lot of negativity. It garnered them a lot of people just kind of throwing up their hands and saying, you know what, I can't anymore. And I said earlier that I was going to bring up Conrad because whenever before I'm critical, and I will say that I do watch AEW. I don't watch it live. I don't get a chance to most times. And I don't watch Rampage. I don't watch Collision as much. But what I will say is this: whenever I'm seeing something as it relates to AEW, I always consider the opinions of those who watch the product more than I do. Conrad is one of those people, and I started watching his review, his recap, um, late Wednesday, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna wait until I can watch the show, and then I'm gonna go back and watch what he said, and just kind of get an understanding there of where he's coming from. And I'll say this: I respect Conrad for kind of saying, you know what, this makes Tony look weak, because it does. I mean, none of this. It, I can't imagine, Joe, and I'm gonna stop rambling and just kick it back over to you. But I can't imagine anyone watching that footage thinking, "Oh, this is gonna paint us in a better light." Now, I will say this: I'm just gonna be real here, okay? If you think that was the first time that people got into an altercation in a locker room, you are sadly, sadly mistaken. I have seen fights in independent locker rooms that I was in. I've seen fights being an athlete in college and high school. I've seen fights between teammates, between people that work for the same place or are a part of a team for the same school or whatever. And it happens. It doesn't make it right. I don't think there should have been physical violence, but I mean, think about the sport that we're talking about. It's wrestling. It's it's presenting physicality on TV, so to expect people with egos to be able to exist in this utopian society all the time is not it's not realistic. But having said that, man, like this, if you watch that, there's no way that you can think, yeah, I agree, RK. I think that people, I just feel like it, it's time to call to the carpet the bull crap. And I will say that I lost a lot more respect for Tony Khan with this. Um, I didn't think this was a good look for them. I don't think you can watch that footage and say it paints us in a good light, or there's any outcome of that that's remotely positive your for your company. I mean, think about it. People were chanting CM Punk's name at the arena
Yeah, they were.
on your TV. And that I think that's another thing, Joe. I'm sorry, I have a lot of opinions about this, but I think if they had said, you know what, we're gonna release this on X, we're gonna do this on X, and give that 10 minutes or whatever that amount of TV time was to hyping up the Swerve and Samoa Joe program a little bit more, or throwing some more into, Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay. I mean, whatever. I feel like there were so many different ways you could do what they did, and and not hurt your TV, not hurt your product. So I just feel like when you have people like, and I'm just going to go on record and say this, I don't care who they are. I don't think active wrestlers should be EVPs.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. I don't think that's a good look. The other thing that I'll say, and then I'll shut the hell up. The other thing I'll say is this. Not only did it expose Tony Khan as not being a good boss, because he's not, and that's not a direct shot at him in terms of being the type of human being that he is, because all people talk about is how nice Tony Khan is, and that's great. That doesn't always equate to you being it doesn't equate to you being an effective leader. And if you can't stand up to people and say no, or if you can't stand up and when one of your biggest star comes to you and tells you that there's an issue with someone, you don't address it right then, what do you think is going to happen? A lot of this stuff could have been avoided if Tony had just dropped his nuts and talked to the two people that had an issue, but he didn't. That's horrible leadership. Okay? That's awful leadership. And I know that right now, when I'm saying all of this, there are some people who are going to still defend Tony Khan. And I'm not talking to you right now. Because there's nothing that's going, if this didn't open your eyes to some things about Tony Khan and the people he has around him that may have more of his ear than others, if this didn't open your eyes, nothing will. He has got to either A, change his leadership style, or B, put someone in place so he doesn't have to be the bad guy. Because that's what this comes down to. He didn't want to be the bad guy. He didn't want to be looked at like, oh, well, I just want to I just want to keep the peace. He didn't keep the peace. This ain't about keeping peace. This is about making money. If you're in the business of making money, growing your product, growing your company, then you got to address hard situations like this. It happens every day in workplaces across the flipping country and world. Stand up and listen. You own the freaking place. You're bankrolling it. You you should be able to say you should be able to say no, not in my company. Let's talk about this like grown ass people. Instead, we're splitting up people on different shows because, that'll make everything be kumbaya. No, it won't. And the last thing that I'll say about this is it exposes some biases from people like Dave Meltzer. Because when you report things one-sided and then you get footage like this, like why even say, well, Jack Perry almost beat him up? Didn't look like that to me. I mean, I'm not here to judge the fight or anything. It's not like it was in the ring or anything, but I can tell you this. I've seen some scraps before. Didn't look like he was going to win that one. So the people that I ultimately feel bad for, I feel bad for people like Tony Khan. I feel bad for people like Adam Copeland who went out there and gave a heartfelt speech to the audience, and then you follow up with this. And if they wanted to show this footage, I guess this is my problem with it. If they wanted to show this footage, Joe, when Tony Khan, the night that Tony Khan came out and said that he feared for his life, he should have shown the footage that night. This to me screams of, I feel like the spotlight isn't on us, and I gotta do something big to draw some eyes. This wasn't it, Chief. I'm done.
Listen, everything Jeff said, there's really not much I can expound upon. The one thing I want to point out is, first off, look at that picture that's on the screen. I have said to you guys on this very program that there are times, and I'm not going to say a lot, I'm not going to say every single week, but there are times when what they are doing, specifically what Tony Khan does, is very akin to what happened in WCW, and not during a good time. That is showing up there. Bash at the Beach 2000, and what Tony Schiavone looked like on that night and what he looked like then. Look, there was a segment of audio where there was they used a phrase. What was it? This isn't part of the script. They said this exact same thing back in 2000 at Bash at the Beach, and it was stupid then. Like, and then you see that is okay. That's John Moxley's wife interviewing. That's Will Ospreay. Yes.
Yep. She was interviewing Will Ospreay. Renee.
Let me talk about something with that man too. And I love Will Ospreay, and I think he's absolutely tremendous. I do not think that what he said was something he was going to say on his own. I think he was told to say it. He called out someone sleeping with the boss's daughter. That is just plain stupid. Stupid. If you were told to say that, you got to fight back. I'm sorry. I understand you are under contract, but you have to look out for your own self, because you know what? If something happens where he is not going to be employed somewhere at some point, where's he going to go now? Do you think that WWE and Triple H are going to want him there after that comment? It's out of line. And all that tells me is what Jeff was saying earlier. This comes off as being something that they did specifically to take the attention off of WWE. That is killing it this week. This looks like they drubbed up it's almost like a star paper drubbed up dirt that they just wanted to, and then Jeff talking about the fight scene itself. I've seen better fights on a schoolyard when they're 6-year-old kids, right? Well, you saw what happened. When would you think that Tony Khan would ever have been in fear of his life? There was nothing thrown. There were no tables tossed around back there. There was nothing smashed, nothing like that. He pushed him down. When could have he been in fear? In fact, if you watch that closely, Jeff, who was it? Was it Aleister Black? Aleister Black walked into the room and saw what was going on, and he just walked them out nonchalantly like nothing happened. So, to Jeff's point, he was in locker rooms before. When someone comes in and sees something like that, they're like, no big deal, I'm leaving. It's like,
I mean, honestly, I'll say this. Sorry to jump back in, but honestly, there are 5 fights that stand out to me, that I think about that were a lot more than this. I mean, I saw a dude get cracked over the head with a not gimmicked stick, I'll call it. He got cracked over the head with it and ended up going to the hospital getting stitches. I've seen wrestlers' wives get into it. Like I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, should it happen? Probably not. But when you have a lot of egos involved, and you think you're the stuff and you're a star and you're on TV, you bark back a little bit.
Yeah, man. Like it's just there was no sense of any time that I ever thought that Tony Khan's life was in any kind of danger, and that's exactly what he said. I felt like my life was in danger. There was nothing there that showed me that. Nothing. They came and they broke them up. Samoa Joe was back there, and and there was this, and yeah, I don't know. Again, Jeff said it all about the best way you could say it, right? To me, this just looked extremely bad, extremely gimmicky, extremely childish as a way. Oh man, we're gonna stick. Now, a little bit of it could have been trying to get their numbers up, but this just looked to me like we're just going to stick at the WWE because we're going to retaliate to what CM Punk came out and said. Nothing in that showed that CM Punk lied. There was nothing in that video that showed CM Punk was lying or said anything bad. And I heard this on a show, but they had said too that, look, if there was something in this footage that made CM Punk look bad in any way, or that he had lied in any way, yes, of course, then you put it out there, because then you're like, oh, look, he didn't say this. He didn't talk about this. But there was nothing. They basically confirmed everything he said with that footage. So then who does it make look bad? It's just, this goes back, and we've said this before. That company has the people in its back room. They have leaders in that back room. They have Mark Henry back there. They have other people who are back in that back room. Good Lord, dude. Tony, it's fine. You're a wrestling fan. I understand that. He loves wrestling. I truly believe he does. But because you love something doesn't necessarily mean you should be in charge of it. So be the money guy, right?
Be the money guy.
Be the money guy. Be the guy that signs the contracts. Be the guy that brings in the Mercedes Monets and of the world and everybody else. Be the one that has the money. You be that guy, dude. But
Heck, even come out on screen when he signs those free agents and do the thing he normally does. Like, he's always happy, giving folks hugs and all that.
Dude.
Do that. Joe, one thing I wanted to say about the Will Ospreay thing, I'll say this. I did feel like Triple H took a shot on the Pat McAfee show. The only thing I'll say is this. Think about where it was done. Is it really?
Yeah.
Do you really want to take your TV time to talk about the other shop? Right. I wouldn't personally, but I thought it was kind of, underhanded. The reason I didn't like it is because it wasn't original.
Right.
Like, we've heard, oh, you've been banging the boss's daughter. We've heard that ever since Triple H and DX were kind of doing their thing. So it's not like it was anything new.
Right.
It was like, okay, like, yeah, I've heard just about every wrestler. And I know we love Will Ospreay, so we know him to be better. So you know what? It's do better. Come up with something original.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, look, there are other, look, Tony has forums. Tony used to go on Busted Open every single week. He doesn't anymore. And I'm kind of wondering if that's because Bully Ray kind of knocks him down a little bit sometimes on his show, and now he doesn't go on there. But he used to go on there every single week. He's not on there anymore. So you have the ability to, like CM Punk sat down on a talk show. You have the ability to go and do the same thing yourself. So go and sit down on a talk show somewhere and give your side of the story. Do it in that forum, but don't do it this way. Don't put it on live TV and make everybody see it. And now all of a sudden you look stupid. There's no better word to describe it. You just look stupid. And that is not good for you. Can, like I said, on those pictures Jeff showed, you're seeing it in his employees' faces. I love Tony Schiavone, by the way, 100%. That man deserves all the accolades and kudos he gets. I've been listening to that dude for forever. He is tremendous at his job. I love him. But for him to sit there and look embarrassed like that, I mean, I don't know. I just, this is, Conrad, we've talked about him. He has every right to state his opinion because he's going to be way more knowledgeable about this than I ever would, because he watches this every single week. He sees all of it. And to see that he was frustrated, that says something to me. You're now not just touching the outer rim of the fanhood, you're touching the ones who are behind your company 110%. You're touching
supporting you from day one. Supporting you from day one.
You're touching a guy who creates content every single week on his channel about your show. Not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
And so, it's I don't know what the ratings went up. James Chadwick said, but did that justify it? No, not the little bit of stuff that they had. They gained a little bit, but it wasn't astronomical. And like Jeff mentioned too, the fact that the crowd was chanting for CM Punk, that's a horrible look. Horrible. So it even seemed that FTR, Jeff, was trying to play it off.
I mean, to use this, and I've heard so many people use the defense. Well, this is going to be used in an angle with FTR since they're friends with Punk. Punk ain't in your company anymore.
Yeah,
like he's not. He's off. He's off in WWE. Get over it and move on. Yep. He has, so you need to as well.
Yep.
You don't need to bring this in to build a story between FTR and the Bucks. They faced off against each other at All In. That's all you have to do is go back to the end of that and build your story from there. You don't need to bring this crap in. It was no point in it. It was pointless. And so what? It gave you a ratings bump. What is it doing to your core fan base? What is it doing to the people that have supported you from day one, Tony Khan? It's turning them off of your product or your leadership because it's quite frankly missing. Like it's missing. So
yeah. Jeff, I've said this to people before. I've been a leader in retail for 35 years. One of the cardinal rules that you can't do is number one, you can't expect to be a friend to everybody that works for you. You just can't. And listen, I had a hard time with that. I loved all the people I work with. I got to know each and every one of them. And I'm just, but you can't do that. And the other thing is you must have someone good working under you in order to succeed, because you're not always going to be there. You can't always watch what's going on. And sometimes you just don't even have a grasp on the stuff that's going on. So you have to have good people underneath you and rely on them all the time when you're not around, when you have to be doing something else. That's what you have to do. I don't know whether Tony just doesn't trust anyone else or he's just too infatuated with his own product that he can't not put his hands on everything. I don't know which it is. But if he doesn't get over that, I kind of fear for what the next 5 to 10 years of this company are going to be. I really, really do, because we've seen examples of wrestling shows that have poor management or are mismanaged. Hello, Vince Russo. So we've seen it, and I don't want that to happen. I don't. Nobody wants that to happen. Nobody wants to see anyone fail. I don't. No. I love a lot of the wrestlers that are in this company, that are in AEW. I've watched them all over the years. I love a lot of them. And nobody wants to see that go away. But man, dude, get over yourself. Use the people you've got back there with you. There are tons of wrestling experience.
Right people.
Yeah.
Not the young bucks.
Yeah.
I said it. I had to get it out of my. It was like that. You know how sometimes you have a cough and you got this thing that I had to get that out. Do not, because listen, I'm not the biggest fan of theirs. I'm not the biggest fan of their style and their work. I will admit that. So I may be a little bit biased, but having said that, get the ear and advice from people like Paul White, like Mark Henry, like Sting. I mean, my gosh, you had Sting. You had Sting there. So I mean, there are so many different things that he could do to get the ear of people who've been there and done that and take AEW to the place that it should have been. And here's what I'm gonna say. I know we have that question, Joe, and I'm gonna apologize again because I'm fired up. But I know we got that question coming up. But what I want to say is this: because people are critical of something doesn't mean they hate it. In many cases, 9 times out of 10, no, I won't go that high. I'll say 7 times out of 10, the people that are criticizing it want it to be better so they can enjoy it more. They want more because they see more.
Yep.
Now, not all people have that same sentiment when it comes to AEW. There have been some people who have wanted it to fail from day one. Let's
Right.
go ahead and get that out in the open too, because that's true. They didn't want an alternative to WWE. Well, it's here. We want it to be better because we like alternatives to WWE.
Mhm.
At least I do. And I'll say this, WWE sucked for so long.
Yes.
And it's better now, and that's great. But you want to know one of the main reasons why they are better?
Competition.
Competition. AEW punched them in the mouth when they first came onto the scene.
Yep.
And it was like, oh crap, we might need to get our crap together. And then things started coming out. We found out how much of a scumbag Vince McMahon has always been.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, listen, we shouldn't have to preface every comment, opinion, or observation of AEW with, but I don't hate it, or but I watch it. We shouldn't have to qualify a statement or an opinion because we say something about a particular company. That shouldn't be the case. But there are some, I'm going to put this on several people. I'm going to put it on people like Dave Meltzer, who, because he's been frozen out of WWE and sources and stuff like that, he doesn't have the relationship that he does with AEW. So he wants to paint things in a certain light. You got particular fans who, if Tony Khan went to the ring Wednesday night and took a massive crap in the middle of the ring, they would defend it. And I had to clean that up because I was about to say something else. But he could go to the ring and take a dump in the middle of the ring, and people would be like, "Well, you know, he might have had nervous bowels." They would try to defend it.
Yep.
So let's not act like there's, it's just one sided. It comes from every side. But at the same time, if you don't hold accountable those people who produce the things that you like, this is the kind of stuff that you end up with. And it's a situation, going back to the beginning, it's a situation that was totally avoidable if you had grown people have conversations like grown adults instead of just saying, oh, well, since you can't play nice together, let me split you up. What's going to happen when they get together? All right, I'm going to shut up. Sorry.
They would have been better off to show a stupid cartoon instead of this. Like, I'm just, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's everything Jeff said was. I mean, I have nothing else to say about it. I mean, it's 100% true. James is mentioning Scott D'Amore. Oh, no doubt, Scott D'Amore. People love him. Wrestlers love him. And that's what he needs. He needs someone in the back that the wrestlers themselves are going to respect, and not just the younger ones. He needs somebody that, the ones that we're talking about, like the Young Bucks and people like that, are going to respect as well. The problem is, though, James, and I think this is what it comes down to, he doesn't want to let go. He doesn't want to let go because he's afraid if he lets loose on a reign that he's going to lose control. He's a control freak. And if he gives up a little piece of it, he thinks it's going to disappear. And I don't know. Look, there could be many, many reasons for that. It could be psychological. It could be something he grew up with. It could be maybe his dad was that way. It could be a lot of different things. And I've never been rich enough to know like he is, right? I've never been rich enough to know what you should even act like with that kind of money. But that's what I think. I just don't. He would be perfect. A lot of people would be perfect. Some of the people that they already have in house are perfect. But do I ever think that that's going to happen? No, I don't. I hope it does, but no, I don't. I don't. Please look up. I feared for my life. Very good parody. Oh my gosh, man.
No, I don't know that we need to go into grievances because I feel
No,
like
yeah, that was kind of it.
but
Yeah.
you know what? Let's just play the intro anyway. You know, let's
Yeah,
do it.
everybody gets a laugh out of it. Sure, put it up there. It's this pretty much acted as our airing of grievances anyway for the week. Because I mean, what other grievance could we have that could be bigger than this one?
Right. Here we go.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're gonna hear about.
All right.
And boy, did you ever!
You heard of me. I'm sorry, Joe. I apologize. I'm gonna apologize to
Don't
you, Joe.
apologize, dude. No, man, that's what we do this for. It's good to expunge.
I feel better now. I feel like my blood pressure is a little bit lower now. I feel okay now, but we're gonna talk a little bit more about that though in a later segment. So
yeah.
sorry.
Oh my gosh, my gosh. Who'd have thought, right? Like WrestleMania week and everything that goes on in the indies and every other place. Who would have thought that this would have made the news? Man. Oh boy. James wants more grievances.
More grievances. Well, now it's sell or no sell, Joe. So let's
move on to sell or no sell. You guys know how we do this. We're going to pick a topic. We're going to talk about it. We're going to sell it or no sell it. We want you guys to play along in the chat, and we're going to need your help because the third question is going to be all you. You're going to decide what question we're going to use on our third question for the week. So please start thinking of that, and then you're going to shout them out at the end when we get to the third part, and then Jeff will, of course, spin the wheel, and we will figure out which one we will be choosing for sell or no sell. All right, here we go. Go ahead, Jeff. What's topic one?
All right, topic one. We're starting out hot, Joe. Coming off of that, we're starting out real hot. WWE will lose momentum now that Cody has defeated the company's biggest villain / heel in Roman Reigns, Joe. Sell or no sell? This is a doozy.
Let me paint a picture for all of you. And I talked a little bit about this earlier. I'm a big comic book fan. I'm a big sci-fi fan. Big Marvel fan. Movie fan. You build up a story with a big boss, right? Like Rock says he's the final boss. Video games build up to a final boss. In video games, when you beat the final boss, who's left? Nothing. The game ends. Now, maybe they'll make a sequel, and maybe they'll find another big boss. And I'm just going to go. Look, I grew up reading Marvel comics since I was about 5 or 6 years old. I'm a big fan of it. I never had thought I'd see anything like this that we're getting on the screen. And so I love it. I love it all. I will watch it all, and I have. That said, I'm also unbiased. So when I sat in the theater for Avengers and Avengers Endgame, and I had that feeling that was just that overwhelming feeling of joy when they defeated Thanos in that film and everything like that. But I'll tell you this, the MCU has not been the same since. Now, there's been a film or two that have been good, but there's a lot that's been bad. And the reason being is because a story is only as good as its villains. This goes for anything. This goes for Westerns back in the day. This goes for comic books. This goes for horror films. This goes for a lot of stuff, and it goes for wrestling too. Cody climbed to the very pinnacle and knocked off one of the best villains we have ever seen in wrestling, and maybe never will see anything like him again. Where do you go from here? Now, we saw there's going to be a little tournament, right? He's going to either wrestle LA Knight or AJ Styles. LA Knight, huge fan favorite. You really want to go face against face? Somebody came up with an example saying, oh man, let's get ready for Cody to lose that title and be the interim champ so that LA Knight could finally get a belt. It's not going to happen, right? Then you look at the other side of that coin, and if it's AJ Styles, okay, I like AJ and everything, but there's nothing there. They can make something in the next few weeks, but there's nothing between him and AJ. And so you're going from way up here to kind of down here. And this is nothing against Cody at all. This is nothing against where he goes. This is against probably more Roman, because he played that role so entirely well that there is going. I'm not trying to be a downer to any of this. I'm just trying to be realistic. There's going to be a drop-off. There's going to be a drop-off just because I would have personally almost liked to have seen him continue a little bit with the bloodline and continue with Solo maybe, or the way they're going with that, because that would kind of fit a little bit. But I understand, they've got to build that up too. So all that said, will they lose a little momentum now that he's defeated the company's biggest villain? The way the question is worded, I'm going to say no sell, but I will say it this way. Momentum is lost not just by one individual in a company, but by the company itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that they will do that. And here's why. We already mentioned some of it. Why do you guys think that all of a sudden the Uncle Howdy stuff is starting now? Why do you think that it did not start during the time of Roman and Cody? You think maybe they know what they're doing? They're starting up that. They're starting up the new bloodline. They're starting up a bunch of things around Cody's championship. That is why they won't lose momentum. Because Cody, and maybe momentum's a bad word, but Cody's going to pack houses. Cody's going to walk out there with the belt and talk about whatever he wants to, and he's got the fans in the palm of his hands because they love him. He is the perfect guy to be champion right now. That's not going to change. He will sell out shows just because people want to go see him. And that's what you want from your champion. That said, the shows itself, and I felt it. I was watching Raw and I felt it. I was intently watching, and I was very excited about the first part of it when Cody came out and The Rock was there and stuff like that. But then as the show went on, I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. And then I watched SmackDown and I saw the stuff with the bloodline. And I was like, oh man, this is awesome. But then as the show went on, I was like, yeah, this is good. So while I will say I'm no selling it because of the wording and because I don't think they'll lose any momentum. I think they're going to keep selling out and selling out and selling out. I will caution, though. He beat one of the best villains ever in professional wrestling. Ain't no place to go from there but a little bit down. Because, until The Rock does indeed come back and he faces the final boss, what are we getting in between? So there you go. Yeah. So no sell it, because I don't think they're losing any momentum. They're on top of the world right now. However, like I said, I would just caution you, because with anything else, and this is the reason why I kind of think Marvel has sucked. All of these stories that they've done, you tell me a villain in those stories who's memorable. Tell me. Kang? He was an Ant-Man. Wasn't great. The Loki series was good. But that version of Kang was memorable. But everything else, not so much.
Yep. I'm gonna no sell it because I think that Cody is exactly the guy that needs to carry the banner for WWE right now. And I'm gonna make a comparison. Please forgive me if it upsets you in any way, anyone out there. But Cody reminds me a lot of Stone Cold Steve Austin in the sense that I was always a fan of his work, and a lot of people always talked about how great in the ring he was. And I'm going back to the stunning Steve Austin days. That's a gimmick that he really didn't like, and it really didn't fit him. He got cast away by WCW, had a little bit of a renaissance with the help of the Hall of Famer Paul Heyman, cutting some promos for ECW, and then he comes to WWE. And I'll be honest with you, the whole ringmaster thing didn't work. So then they're like, all right, let's go back to the drawing board. And man, did he nail it. I think that's Cody Rhodes. I think, he's even saying he's talking about going from undesirable to undeniable, those kinds of things. I think Cody connects with people in a way that make him feel more accessible than past mega stars at this level. I think he's the perfect guy for the job. I think he's going to do great things. I said this in a post, but I felt like he was already the champion with how he was carrying himself. And now that he has the title, the belt, that just makes it all official. But I think he was carrying himself as the face of the company anyway. I think that they're going to do a good job with his story because Deanna kind of brings up a point. I don't think we're going to see this straight-laced baby face the whole time of his run. I think part of that is going to be by necessity because you're already seeing fans out there how fickle you all are. The ones of you who said this, who you begged and begged for Cody to be champion. You just wanted it. You had to have it. And as soon as you got it, you gave him about a week, not even. And now you're saying, oh, Cody's kind of boring. My God.
Yeah, right.
So all I'm going to say is I think that Cody's the guy for the job. I think this is a new era. I think it's a new time. And I think Cody, with the help of, the bookers and everyone backstage, will adapt his character as this run goes on how he carries himself. I mean, there might be some times where he's exactly like he is right now, and he cuts that rah-rah baby face promo and you're all pumped up. And then there's going to be times where he might be kind of a tweener, and that's okay. I think Cody can adapt. I think he's shown us that. So I have all the faith in the world that he's going to do a great job. I don't think they'll lose momentum, but I do think fans are fickle and they get what they want, and then they yeah. So yeah, I'm good with that.
You know what I would do, Jeff? And I know people may not agree with me on this, but you know what I would do with him? If you're bringing back that whole Bray gang, I would certainly have them go right after Cody Rhodes. I would 100%. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, I don't know if they should get, because Bray wasn't necessarily playing a heel when he was here. So people might disagree with that. But I tell you, fear characters, even when we all remember the debut of The Undertaker. Who did he go right after? The biggest baby face in the company, Hulk Hogan. And it put the fear of God in Hulk Hogan, because Hulk Hogan, again, one of the biggest faces you will ever see in the wrestling business. And that's kind of where Cody is now too. But what did Taker do? He made him afraid. So a lot of times, if you want to bring in a heel to fight him, You get someone who will make him afraid of something. So that's what I would do. I would bring them in as heels, and I would have them go right after him. And because I think that would be that. I mean, could you imagine the storytelling? Everybody's going to be all over whatever they decide to do with Howdy in that group, if that's what it's going to be. But having them come after him, and you're right, Deanna, that's a great point. Cody was in charge of Husky Harris, and it would make sense.
Yep.
Yes, 100%. But I think that would be tremendous, and everybody would watch. That would blow up ratings, blow it up. Whether or not Howdy comes down, I could just imagine. I'm getting chills thinking about it. Howdy standing on the stage, the music hits. All of a sudden, you're seeing Cody in the ring. He's cutting a promo. The ring goes dark. Next thing you know, you look at the ring. You're seeing Braun on one side. You're seeing Rowan on the other side. You're seeing Alexa Bliss on the other side, and they surround him in the ring. My God, it would be outstanding. So that's what I would do if I was booking it. I would have them come in and I'd go straight after him, because that's just what I would do. And again, I don't know if they want to do it that way. I don't know if Bo wants to play a bad guy. I don't know what he wants to do, or if he wants to kind of take more after Bray and kind of be, a little more of a face and a fan favorite. But that's what I would do. I think that'd be tremendous. So, all right, man. What's the second topic? Let me read what some people said here. Sell or no sell? I have to go quite a ways back because everybody was commenting. No sell, said John G. People were making so many comments that they weren't saying no sell or sell. The whole point of the game, guys, you got to do sell or no sell. There was a glitch during Chelsea Green. Yep. All Howdy would have to do is tip the hat. Yeah, dude. If he came down just in that thing and just gave the hat a little tip, brilliant.
That's it.
It would be brilliant. No sell, says Mark. Okay. All right. We're moving on to topic 2. What's topic 2?
And go ahead and get the third question ready. We'll start taking those after we discuss the second, but start thinking about them. But Joe, the next one, AEW can come back from its latest blunder. Sell or no sell?
Can I have a God, I sure hope so answer? Oh boy. Look. Do I think they can? Sure. I'll give anybody the benefit of the doubt. However, it's like the old cliche goes, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. I'm hoping that they have enough good people there to step in and to say, all right, no more of this. No more of this. And I kind of think in the back of my mind that they do. So I don't know that Tony will ever change. In fact, I kind of doubting it at this point. I don't know who as a figure would step in and make him do that. I don't know. Maybe his dad, maybe his father would say something to him. I don't know. I don't know if he just lets him be his own thing and do his own thing. I don't know. But it's going to be hard, man. Let me just say that. I'll sell it, or no, I'll say no sell, or I'll say no sell because can come back. I'll sell it. I think they can, because anybody can do anything, but it's going to be hard. This one is going to be hard to get over. Now, the good thing is, Jeff, is wrestling, we liken this to soap operas, right? And stuff like that. People tend to forget, right? From week to week, sometimes people just forget things. This will blow over like anything else did. However, you are going to, the fans that really have lost faith in you, we have some in our group here. Maybe won't ever forget. And that's the shame of it all, because the dedication of those people may have just weaned too thin and may be just done. And I can't fault them for that. I do think they'll bounce back. I want them to bounce back. But again, I will say this as a little bit of caution. I think it needs to happen pretty quickly. I do, because it's like a rolling stone now. You don't want that stone to keep getting bigger as it's rolling down the mountain. And it is getting bigger, and they've got to stop it now. So I hope they understand that, and I hope they stop it. So yeah, I'll sell it. I think they can come back. The question is, will they, and is it already too late?
I'm gonna sell it because I'm gonna. I think in this regard, Tony won't change. I think all of the negativity that they've probably seen over the last few days since they aired the footage, may be the wake up call that Tony Khan needed. Do I think he's going to change overnight? No. Do I think he'll still deflect in some ways? Yes. But this might be the wake up call. They have a talented roster.
Mhm.
They have a lot of great wrestling minds in the building. So I would hope at some point one of those great wrestling minds over the next week or so goes up to Tony and says, Hey, TK, we didn't capitalize all the way on building story, giving a little bit more time to the story builds for Dynasty during that last episode. Let's focus on us. Let's focus on us. Let's be a leader. Hey, if Mark Henry wants to be the enforcer in the back, be, talent relations or whatever, I'd be fine with that. But Tony Khan needs someone that will be that heavy for him. And I just think that I don't think they're in like danger of closing or anything like that. And I don't think any of us should want to see them fail, because I certainly don't. More wrestling companies means more competition, better play, more opportunities for the wrestlers, more opportunities for fans. So I think they're going to be fine, but I think Tony has to do some serious soul searching. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, I agree. All right. Well, there you go. So I hope you all were thinking what you're going to ask. A and B Convos Wrestling Edition. Hello, how are you? A big shout out to Insiders Pro and everyone in the chat. Shout out to you as well. What AEW did was pathetic, and they need to stop putting the shine on WWE, and Tony Khan needs to get his house in order. I agree, and I do believe Jeff does too. Damian Robinson saying sell on this. But the ringleader needs to stop acting like the head clown. Sell, great wrestling overcomes all. Half sell, half no sell, hard to really predict. Bonus Baby says sell. James says sell, but it's going to be tough. Christopher says sell. Tough one for me on that topic. Topic number 2 said Brandon. Deanna says sell. John G says no sell. Noob TV says no. Conrad says sell. Derek Fleming says no sell because Tony won't step aside. Christopher says no sell. And Mark says no sell. Dan says sell. I hate the AEW bias, but if they have a come to Jesus moment from this, sure. I think they need someone like Scott D'Amore running creative with no interference. Isaac says sell. Sell. AEW has a decent roster of good wrestlers. If they can get back to focusing on themselves, they can grow again. Bonus Baby says they showed the footage, so there should be nothing left. Dylan says sell. DRO says sell. It's how they come back as a real statement. Swerve wins the Dynasty. All is right with the world, says Clown. Conrad says it takes time for momentum to swing back in your favor. That's what Tony Khan needs to realize. I always use this example. WCW wasn't better than WWF for 83 weeks. It's true. Sell. AEW isn't in trouble. Isaac says they need to stop focusing on WWE. Yeah. All that says is they're in your head. WWE is in your head. Don't worry about what they're doing. You comparing yourself to them anyway is like apples and oranges. WWE has been around forever. You're a new company. You can't compare yourself to that. It's two different sides of the scale. So yeah, stop focusing on WWE. Worry about yourself. You got some good people there and some great wrestlers there. Worry about that. Worry about that. Wake up call. Heath Slater is all elite. No Cell says the champ is here. Jeff, you're speaking facts. I don't want to see AEW fail. No, none of us want to see any. Look, I don't want to see any place ever fail because that puts wrestlers out of jobs. I don't want to see that. And I don't want to see WWE not have competition because, like Jeff said earlier, it drives better results. I don't want them to be the only game in town. We were there. We went through that, and it sucked. It sucked. So, no, I don't want that. They have good people there. I don't want to see them not have their jobs. Of course not. All right. We need your help here, guys. Let's go. We're going to get the wheel ready. Give us our last topic for sell or no sell. This is viewer's choice. So give us some questions from the chat. There's the wheel. Jeff's got it all ready to go. We need how many answers on there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8. So give us questions. Let's go. Give us a sell or no sell in the chat. We need 8 people before we can continue. So the quicker we get them, the quicker we go. Give us some sell or no sell topics. James Grant got one. Rossi Ogawa, new promotion will be having a partnership with WWE ? So we got that. Isaac has one whenever you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Will we see QR codes with the Uncle Howdy teases? Sell or no sell? It's more of a question, but we can do that.
I'm just going to say there will be.
Yeah, QR codes. Richie has one. Will Tamatonga's brother come to WWE? Sell or no sell?
Tongaloa.
Yep. Deanna says, under a year, Mercedes Moné leaves AEW.
Wow.
Damn. Let me know when you're ready. We got another one.
Yep, I'm ready.
Brandon says Roman comes back as a babyface at SummerSlam. A and B got to take off. We'll see you later. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
Go subscribe to their channel.
Yes, sir.
Awesome content.
Bonus Baby has one. It's okay to invalidate Tony Khan's feelings. If the man said he was afraid, if only for a second. Sell or no sell?
Trying to figure out how to word that one.
Are we overlooking a person's feelings? Sell or no sell? Maybe.
Yeah, are we overlooking TK's feelings?
Yeah.
Someone did bring up the point earlier that, depending on where he grew up, he probably didn't grow up in places like some of us. So the physical stuff probably didn't,
It's not like he grew up on the mean streets of Harlem or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Or any other, places that are rough. Yeah, that's true. How many more do we need?
2 more.
2 more. Bonus Baby has sell or no sell. No, I'm sorry. Clown. GCW Bloodsport, Masha Slamovich versus Shayna Baszler was the true forbidden door being open.
Okay.
Matthew has one. Should Thrillbilly Silas Mason dethrone EC3? And where should the NWA expand its next territory? It's more of a question, but we'd have to go with the first part of that.
Yeah, we'll just say Silas Mason will defeat EC3.
EC3, yeah. And how many more?
We're all good.
We're good?
We'll keep the other ones for next time.
Yep. Will other wrestling promotions be working with WWE in the near future? Noob and Company says. Will there be more airing of grievances? Oh, of course. we do that every show.
Not this week, but maybe kind of, because we have another question related.
Yeah, we have the burning question coming up. Conrad also had Nick Nemeth winning the TNA title at Rebellion, shows TNA is in good health. Oh, I like that one. Put that one down too. We'll save that. Yep. I like it. I like it.
We ready?
Yeah, let's go. So we're going to spin the wheel. We're going to choose one and we're going to do it.
Ooh, this one landed on Roman as a face at SummerSlam when he returns.
All
Or a
right.
possible return at SummerSlam, and Roman will be a face.
There you go.
No sell.
Kind of goes along with a lot of the stuff we talked about tonight. So there you go. Sell or no sell. Roman returns as a face at SummerSlam of this year. Let us know in the chat. Sell or no sell. Jeff, what do you think?
I'm going to no sell it because I don't think he'll be back by SummerSlam. I think it'll be later in the year.
Okay.
So I'm going to no sell it just for that reason.
Okay. Oh, man. Yeah. SummerSlam is kind of soon, right? You're talking, what is that, August?
August, I think.
We're in
April.
May, June, July. It's only 3 months. Yeah, I kind of like Jeff's logic here. I'm gonna no sell it because I think he'll stay away for a little while longer. Because he deserves a break, and I think he's gonna take one. He might have some other projects he might be doing and stuff too, just like Seth. I think Seth's gonna stay away for a while too. So I'm going to no sell it just because of the timeline you said. However, I do agree with your prediction that he will be a face. That I believe. Yes. Yeah. 100%. I think he's coming back that way. Yeah, no doubt. He saves the Usos. Yeah. Can I half this? Fans will cheer him, but he will be a heel by being accompanied by Heyman.
Here's what I think is interesting, Joe. Is Heyman going to be allowed to be there for Roman?
That's true. Poor Paul is in fear of his life right now, man. Yeah, that's true. He may want to be with Roman and may hope Roman could somehow come and rescue him, but he may not be able to get out of the situation that he's currently in. So yeah, that's a good point. Matthew saying no sell. James is saying sell. Isaac says 100% sell. Damien says sell. John G says sell. Deanna says sell. Chris is saying sell a lot of times. No sell, says Swag Fan. Clown says sell. He saves the Usos. Hello, Richie. How are you? I love the twist. I think he's back sooner than you think, says Deanna. Dylan said sell. So a lot of people selling it. Roman was advertised, but he's not now. Yeah, I kind of think he'll take some time off. I do. I think he'll take some time off. Roman has a date with Seth Rollins upon his return. I think Roman goes to Hollywood, and here's a bold prediction. Roman is considered for Lobo and James. Yeah, Roman could be doing some acting and stuff like that too. We don't know. Yeah. He probably will be wanted there because after the role he played with this storyline, who wouldn't want him? You'd put him in almost anything and make him. I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, Dan's talking about the DC universe and James Gunn. Sure, I mean, why not? He could try to get him there. Marvel may want him for something. Hell, Star Wars and stuff. You got films coming out from them too. I mean, they may. Yeah. Why not? Why not? Heyman is held hostage. He fears to get spiked. I feel for Paul, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. We're moving on. What's next?
All right, Joe. We it's about to heat up like it's not already been pretty pricey, but
look at that. It's like a fire, man. If it's cold outside, you put your hand over that thing. It's the burning question of the week.
Burning question of the week. And let me remove that off the screen so people can actually see it. So I'll read this. As an AEW fan since the beginning, I was embarrassed this week. I don't feel like I can say that because whenever I've spoken up about my problems with the company, I'm told I'm not a real AEW fan and I'm a hater. I know Jeff asked this question a while back, but when will it be okay to voice concerns and opinions about AEW without being labeled a hater or a fake fan?
Wow. Boy, this speaks to a lot of things that we've addressed on our show many times. It speaks to fan bases, but it also speaks to where you're voicing stuff, because there are places that just don't let you have a voice because they will just drown you out with negativity and garbage. Twitter, I'm calling you. So or X or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, man. Again, I have to ask the person who asked or who mentioned this, like, where is it you feel like you can't voice a concern? Because I think that plays a big part in it. You know, I would say that, all of us kind of have our own groups of friends and our own people that we like to, put ideas off of one another. Sometimes it's people that you work with. Sometimes it's people that you see online and stuff like that and everything. What I guess I would say to this is, and I don't think it's just about AEW. Derek's coming in saying that I agree. I'm a huge fan, but I must say I'm fed up with the product and fans at the moment. If someone if someone criticizes you for stating your own opinion, they probably aren't someone you'd want in your circle anyway, because you're while you're a part of a fan base, you're also your own person. And just because you're a part of a fan base doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have to agree with everything. I'm part of many fan bases. I'm part of a fan base of wrestling. I'm part of a fan base of movies, Marvel and DC. I'm part of everyone's fan base. But there are things that I don't like. So you know what? But here's the thing with me, and I'll make you laugh with this. I've gotten older and I've gotten ornery. So I have a tendency to just go and blurt things out, which doesn't always go over very well. I'll many times, and I don't do it on Twitter because I don't even want to deal with putting up with blocking everyone that I'm going to have to block. So what I do a lot is I throw it out on Facebook. So I'll put it out on Facebook and I'll say something that will come. And look, I got myself in some hot water talking about like stuff I would never talk about online, like politics, being one of them. Yeah. So I made some people that came at me, and you know what I started doing? See, I solve a lot of things on social media with the block button. If you don't like my opinion, I'll listen to what you have to say. But if you get hot about it or try to convince me that my opinion's wrong, I will instantaneously block you. That's just what I do. So yeah. But that's just me. But to this person who's asking this thing, there's no right. Nobody has a right to come out and label you as being a hater or a fake fan because you're giving your opinion. You're stating an opinion that you feel is a way for them to improve. And no one should berate you for that. You're just trying to talk to people to say, well, maybe this would be a better way to do it. And that's why we're all here. And what I would say to you is, I know for a fact, and we've got one of them in our chat, in Conrad. What I would say is find some people who are like-minded with you and say this like similar things, and then kick the ideas around with them. I'll tell you what, I was never a big fan of Discord until more recently, and now I'm in Discords. But you know why Discord's kind of cool, and you will get morons there too, just like everywhere else. But at least in there, you can find little separate divisions of different groups that you could go in and join, and kind of know that you're going to have people in there that you can talk things over with. Conrad is obviously a friend of ours. He's open to others' opinions and stuff like that. So like, a stream like his, who isn't going to, berate you for having an opinion. Everybody's allowed to see, everyone is allowed to express themselves and have their own opinion on anything. They just are. And if you don't feel like that's being done, get away from wherever that is, whether that be Twitter, whether that be because listen, we've said this over and over again. Jeff left Twitter for a reason. We say this all the time. Twitter is just garbage. It is. It is. It's garbage for the most part. So if you're basing it on that, there is tribalism all over Twitter, and that's never going to stop. It's not. No matter who asks for it, no matter who begs people to, like Edge did or Adam Copeland did, it's not going to stop there. It's just because that is the worst of the worst. So I'd suggest just get away from it. Get away from it. Go somewhere else. I'll even plug us. Come in here. Come in our chats and talk about it, because we're certainly not going to. I'm confident that all of our chats certainly wouldn't. So there are places to go. Just find a better place, I think.
Yep. What I'll say, I come back to a Jay-Z bar from one of his songs, and he said, "What you eat don't make me shit." There's no. I'm not gonna censor it. It's just it's better said that way. What you like and what you enjoy is what you like and what you enjoy. If you are a consumer of the product, if you have supported the product, if you watch it, you want to see it get better. You're invested, so you want to see it do well. I saw Conrad say this earlier. I don't want the days of WWE just running roughshod over. Exactly, Conrad. That's the song. What's up, Tazzy? Tazzy just joined.
Hey, Tazzy.
What's up, Tazzy? But you should want what you support and what you consume to be the best that it can possibly be. And I think that's what we want for AEW. I will say this. I think that some of the AEW fans who might be reacting to you this way have seen a lot of bad faith actors crap on AEW since before it even had their first show, because they didn't want competition. They only like the WWE way, and that's the only thing that matters in their life. And you know what? That's fine. But there needs to be other competition in the wrestling business. Wrestling just works better that way. Yeah. It's more fun that way because everybody's got to compete. They have to compete. You criticize a lot of times. You criticize the things you love, and I'm critical of AEW, but I'm also critical of WWE. I'm critical of TNA.
Yeah,
there are things that they need to do better too. They need to keep people longer term. But I think, again, like Joe said, find places where people are honest about the product. I'm gonna suggest Conrad, Everything Pro Wrestling. Go subscribe. There are other people that if you look hard enough and you get in some of these chats, you're going to have conversations with people who are like-minded, who love the product, but they want to see it be its best.
Yep.
So they're going to be critical where criticism is needed. I think sometimes people are overly critical. I think sometimes people have a tendency to book themselves into a shoot, like Hulk Hogan said. They book themselves, they fantasy book shows, and they want everything their way, like they're at Burger King. AEW, WWE, TNA, MLW, NWA, I can go on and on. They're not Burger King. You can't have it your way all the time. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that no one told you no at some point in your life, but I'm telling you now, not everything is going to be your way. So be critical. Look at it like this. If you can't criticize what you love, if you can't have passion to want something that you spend a lot of time watching, if you can't do that and want it to be better, I would just get those folks out of my circle, or block them, mute them, do whatever you need to do, because you don't need those types of people. If you can't be somewhat critical, if you can't be like, man, that sucked, that was terrible, that was garbage. If you can't say that, then they're not a realistic person for you to be around anyway, or to, chat with or whatever when it comes to wrestling. So, I would just advise you to find places where you've got people who actually care, but they aren't at the point of being okay with Tony Khan going to the ring and taking a dump and being like, yeah, that was great. No, I mean, be around people who are honest about the product. Okay. I think sometimes people can be overly critical. I think sometimes people can be nitpicky. But if it's coming from a good place, find a better place to share it. That's going to be my opinion too.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm one of the biggest, not along with Marvel and stuff. I'm one of the biggest Star Wars fans you will ever see. And I thought The Force Awakens was fantastic. I know it was a rehash of Star Wars, but I liked it. And the ending of that film got me, like choked me up. When I heard the music and Rey's walking up the island and then she goes to hand Luke the lightsaber, and that's just how the movie ended. I thought that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And then when I went to see the next parts and I saw the continuation of what I thought was one of the best scenes I've ever seen, and she goes up there and hands it to him and he chucks it over her shoulder, I walked out of that movie saying, this absolutely sucked. And I never thought I'd say that in my life about a Star Wars film. I loved them all. I was so mad, and I thought it was garbage. And I came out of there hot as hell. I went on my consortium of the Greater Geek thing that I have on Facebook. I go on there and I'm starting to roll on, and people are like, "Oh my God, it was not that bad." I said it was terrible. They ruined this for me. It was awful. And people are trying to say, and they're coming up with the different of opinions and stuff like this. So yeah, look, it happens everywhere. We're human beings for a reason. People are just different. Everybody's going to have a different opinion about everything. And some people are going to take it way too far. Some people, though, are just going to do it because they know they can fire you up or they can piss you off, and they want to get into an argument with you because they are not good people, or they're just having a bad day and they just want to get you down to their level. So yeah, like Jeff said,
or they want a PR job being Tony Khan's personal public relations person.
Yeah. It's everywhere. And you really just need to just find that place where you can do that. And like I said, I pride ourselves, myself and Jeff, and what we have done here as a safe space where people can come in and they could say anything, knowing that there's not going to be repercussions coming from us, and there's not going to be repercussions coming from anyone in the chat. And that's why I think what we have here is so special, because you can't say that about other people. I know that for a fact because I've been in other wrestling streams. I've seen other wrestling streamers. I've seen other people in wrestling streamers chats. So, and not just wrestling, but other things as well. So we'll always be, I liken our show to Cheers. It's where the place where everybody goes, where everybody knows your name. We may not be big, but you know what? I'm okay with that because we've got good people. So yeah. Yep. So there you go.
Yep. All right. Good. So we go from all of that, Joe, to now favorite moments of the week.
Yeah, the favorite part of the show, of course, favorite moments of the week. Everybody's got them. We had a ton of great stuff that happened in wrestling this week. It's going to be very hard to pick through these because so many cool things happened. But yeah, give us yours. 3, 2, and 1. So we'll start with the 3s and we'll go to the 3s first. So what is all of your in chat? Your third favorite moment of the week in wrestling, no matter where it is, whatever company is, you can see them all up there, whether it's New Japan, whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW, it doesn't matter. Give us your third favorite moment of the week. Jeff, start with yours. What's your number 3?
Because, well, I was going to make a joke, but it's too late and I can't connect the dots. So all I'm going to say is this. I am so invested in this Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland storyline and match at Dynasty that I am really looking forward to this. I really want to see what they do. I'd love to see Swerve win it. Maybe they go in that direction, maybe they don't. I don't know, but I'll just say I really love the storyline, and just I think it's going to be a heck of a match. I really do.
Yeah. Bonus Baby's yelling, Norm! It's one of my favorite shows ever. I can watch those over and over and over again. My number 3, I talk to you guys all the time about moments. I got to see R-Truth win a belt, and I absolutely love it. I don't think there's anyone, honestly, more deserving in pro wrestling to win a title than R-Truth is. And again, we talk about moments in wrestling and making people, filling people up with joy just to see a moment happen. That moment did. And because R-Truth, listen, everybody I hear talk about this guy, nobody has a bad word to say about him. I heard Ciampa in an interview talking about R-Truth and how much he makes them laugh. That man, I've said this so many times, he is a gift, and he makes us laugh on TV. I'm sure he makes people laugh in the locker room, and I love the fact that he was able to get a title. I don't know how long they're going to keep it. It may not be very long, but for seeing him able to have that moment in the ring, to me, there's no one more deserving to have that moment. So I thought that was really cool to see him win that. All right, let's see what the chat's got as their number 3. You want me to pick 3? He says, Dazzy. It's hard. Clown says Masha versus Shane at GCW Bloodsport. That's a good one. A lot of people were talking about that, actually. Derek says 3 priests cash in with assistance from Phil. That whole thing is just great. It really is. It's just so good. Swerve Joe storyline during Dynamite says Bonus Baby agrees with Jeff. Isaac saying the Uncle Howdy teases. Deanna saying Priest cash in / Swerve. Number 3, Sammy dethroning Gunther at Mania. Another just fantastic end to a great story. John G's Priest cash in. Conrad says WrestleMania hangover feels like they are trying to keep fans' attention, and I appreciate the effort. DRO says Priest cashing in. Tazzy said the New Testament shows up in NXT. Not surprised Tazzy would pick an NXT moment, but yeah, very, very cool that happened. Stephanie McMahon introducing the WWE Universe to the Paul Levesque era. That was a great moment. It really was. I was very, very, very happy to see her come back and do that, because that had to be, for her, a pretty amazing thing. And I could kind of see her when she was up there doing it, getting a little choked up. You could see it. And I'm sure she is thrilled to be back. And I'm sure she is thrilled to come out there and say that, not only just for herself, but for her husband. You saw a picture of her and him backstage, and her giving him a big hug back there. So, yeah, no doubt. Just amazing moment. Sami Zayn shocking the world and slaying the invincible Gunther, as Vince Scully said after the last out of the 88 World Series, like the 69 Mets, it's the impossible dream. The only thing that would have made that better for me, and I really wish it would have happened, but he was probably busy. Man, I would have loved to see Stallone there. That was such a Stallone story and a Rocky story. I would have loved to have seen Stallone. He's not going to take his moment away from him when he won, but I would have loved to have seen Stallone in the back before he went out there, and just the Rocky thing, I think, would have just been so cool in Philadelphia. But yeah, it was amazing. And again, hats off to an amazing title run for Gunther. And a lot of people are thinking that Gunther may be the guy to be Cody's opponent. So Tama Tonga's debut, says Isaac, is his number 3. Prayers to R-Truth's cousin. Hope he's recovering well. He had a stroke the same night. Truth. Oh, did he really? That's terrible, dude. That's terrible. Yeah, I hope he's okay. Jason says the Taylor Rotunda teasers. Damien says number 3 is Tama Tonga showing up and joining the bloodline. Okay, all right. We're going to go to 2s. Some people already are. Jason Stoffer says WWE is edgy again, is his number 3. Okay, let's go to number 2. What do you got, Jeff?
Number 2. This is not that tough, and I think, honestly, had they won titles at any other show, they probably would have been my 1A and 1B, but they're my 2A and 2B this week. That's Bailey getting a WrestleMania moment.
Yep.
And Sami Zayn defeating what may go down as the best Intercontinental Champion that we've seen in Gunther. The emotion, I mean, the real life Rocky story that they built up, having him running the KO before he goes to the ring and do all of that with Sammy. Man, it was masterfully done. A great match between him and Gunther. But Bailey having that moment, being able to raise that title at WrestleMania, what a special moment. So happy for her. So yeah, those are my 2A and my 2B.
Yeah. We're gonna have a lot of A's and B's, I think, here.
Yeah.
Man, there was a lot to pick from this week too. My number 2 is I'm gonna go with Bailey winning. Bailey is I think Bailey's very underrated. When everybody thinks about the big names in WWE, they think about Charlotte Flair, they think about Bianca Belair, they think about, a few others, but Bailey's name usually isn't mentioned much. I think she's very well loved backstage by a lot of people there and very, very well respected. And again, we've seen some big moments in WrestleMania for women. We've seen Sasha Banks cry outside the ring when Bianca won her title. I'm sure there were a lot of tears shed for Bailey as well. She deserves it. She's been amazing in WWE for a long time, even going back to NXT. And she came in with that. So many people probably want to forget about those balloon men and the Bailey the kisser coming down and kissing everybody and stuff like that. So she's been really through it, and she deserves that opportunity, and she deserves what she got, and really, really respectfully should. She's good. She's just damn good at what she does, and has been in a lot of great matches in women's divisions over the years. And I think she will continue to be. Whoever ends up getting built up to take her out, I don't know, but I certainly hope that, a lot of times people like Charlotte are around in WWE, a lot, and it's tough to overlook that with how good she is. But I really hope that Bailey gets that moment, and I hope she gets to keep that moment for a while. So that's my number 2. All right, let's see what people's number 2s are in the chat. These are all over the place. We've got the end of the PG era in WWE. We got Sammy Bailey, R-Truth win, Tama debut. She has an A, B, and C. Tama debut, and Steph's back on TV. And the Seth Rollins entrance. Oh my gosh, A, B, C, and D. That's a good week. John Cena, Undertaker, and The Rock all in the same segment. Number 2, the picture of Nick Gage and CM Punk hugging over the weekend, which I just would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for. Cody finishes the stories. Wow, that's your number 2, dude. I want to know what your number 1 is.
What's your number 1?
I really want to know what your number 1 is, Bonus Baby. Wait a second until we get to there, but I really want to know what your number 1 is. Bailey winning. Derek saying has 2A and B. 2, Truth with his hot tag and winning the titles. Bailey getting her moment. 2, John Cena and Undertaker's return. John says Moxley winning the IWGP title this past Friday in Chicago. Bailey winning the women's title Mania. TNA's Rebellion build. Look, we weren't there for TNA this past week, but it's been really, really good, man. That stuff with Josh and Hammerstone.
Oh man.
Boy, oh boy, is that getting personal. That's yeah, man. Rebellion's going to be fun. Don't miss it. It's this Saturday, guys. Make sure you come out and join us. It's going to be a good one. New Japan, Windy City, Moxley wins the IWGP title. WrestleMania being like 89 in Eastern Europe, and the fall of McMahonism. Michael Cole said pro wrestling. Yeah, how cool was that? Michael Cole just blurts out, I love pro wrestling. McMahon, if he was watching, man, his ears must have just blown out smoke like the cartoon characters. Bruce Pritchard coming out to celebrate with Cody, yeah, and that the fact that he called him to, I thought was cool. Number 2 is the titles changing hands. Bailey, the Awesome Truth, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre before Damian Priest. Barry Monkey said they need to keep the belt on Bailey for Clash of the Castle, and the crowd will go insane. UK fans love her. 2A. Just in general, Swerve Strickland. No further comment. 3B. Bailey brings the championship back to the Bay Area. Yay, area. Clown says, number 1, hanging out with everybody in the live streams from Tazzy's party for SmackDown and NXT insiders for both nights of Mania. Everything pro wrestling when at work on Monday. Thank you, Clown. We appreciate you, man. All right, Jeff. What's your number 1?
Well, number 1 for me, I've got quite a few, and I'm not going to put them in order. One, I'm going to say The Rock being 51 and looking in better shape than he was when he was in the ring full time. My gosh, if I only had the mental fortitude to do his workout routine, I too may look like that, but I don't. So the Damian Priest cash in, and all the glitz and glamour of the entrance from Seth and how that whole match played out, and really, even in defeat, Seth Rollins looked like such a badass because, I mean, my goodness, Derek, maybe. But yeah, I just thought that the way that was done and having consequences for stupid actions. Drew McIntyre, you got a little overzealous.
Yeah, you did.
You took your eye off the ball. Now I will say this. I really hope that Drew gets a lengthy title run at some point.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was cool for Damian Priest. I'll be honest with you. I said since he won the Money in the Bank briefcase, I didn't think he was going to have a successful cash in.
Yeah,
prove me wrong. I'm happy about that. And then obviously Cody finishing his story, being able to share that moment with my son, and we were talking about it today, Joe. Just to put this in perspective, my daughter, who's now 6, was 2.5, almost 3, when Roman first won the title.
That's crazy, man.
She did not like wrestling then.
Yep.
Just didn't despise it. And JJ was a huge Roman fan then. And now he's a huge Cody fan. He's even asking me, he's like, hey Dad, can you get me Cody side plates for my belt? I'm like, dude, like I don't know about that, but but yeah, I mean, just an awesome moment. I feel like WrestleMania was so good this year. Even dealing with the elements on the first night, I'll give the crowd a pass, but night 2, they were hot. And they had a lot to be hot about on night 2. So got to give kudos to WWE for delivering a great WrestleMania. But yeah, seeing Cody finish his story, seeing Drew get his brief moment, and then just seeing all the fanfare. And again, I want to say this. I know I say this a lot on this channel. Seth Rollins is the MVP of WWE.
Yeah, he really is.
He deserves some rest. He deserves some time off because he carried that company on his back.
Yeah, he did
for a while. So kudos to Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the only one. I mean, he was there every single time, every single pay-per-view, every single one, because Roman couldn't be. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So the other thing I want to point out quick about your Seth thing too was, you want to talk about great storytelling there? When he said he was going to be Cody's shield. Certainly was.
And then you talk about the tie back to when he turned on Roman, and it made Roman make that decision, and it cost him.
Instead of Roman hitting Cody with the ladder, he hit Seth because of his initial reaction. That's beautiful. Beautiful.
He had to get revenge.
Yes, he did.
He had to get revenge in that moment, even though he was going up against the biggest test that he's had. He had to get revenge.
Yeah.
And that was chef's kiss on that.
It's not the last we're going to hear of that either, because you watched that Solo. Remember these moments. Remember when Solo was in that ring and kept yelling at him, at Roman, get up, get up. And he was, Solo is going to be the one that's going to say to him, why didn't you hit Cody with that damn ladder?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. When stories are done right in wrestling, they're beautiful things. Yeah, my number one, it's easy. Listen, I've told you guys over and over again, my number one moments in this world are going to be when I can act like an idiot, scream and yell like a fool. I certainly did that watching Cody's the end of that match, and I loved every minute of it. The shocking surprises, the twists and turns, just when you thought one was done, another one happened. And then, the fact that everyone I knew almost was saying it's going to be Stone Cold. It's going to be Stone Cold. We're going to hear the glass break. And I said, but what if we hear the gong? And then all of a sudden, 3 minutes later, I was shocked. And I marked out hard. And then the whole ending and how they did that, and Cody and I loved it because, again, it ties it into great storytelling. All the people who the bloodline wronged came out and celebrated in the ring. Again, go back to movies and stuff. Go back to what all the people who celebrated when in Star Wars they took down the Emperor. All the people who he wronged were there to celebrate with him. Beautiful storytelling, and just, it was done. Cody on one knee handing the belt to his mom. His wife was in there, and it just chills. When wrestling is done and it's done right, it's a beautiful thing. It's an absolutely beautiful thing, and this was all done right. And I absolutely loved it. And look, how many of the people,
Barry Monkey's comment, that might be comment of the night.
Says the heartwarming, uplifting story of a young man coming from a broken home, going to prison, then rebuilding his life to appear at WrestleMania, the wonderful Dominic Mysterio. Oh, that's great. Look, it was done so well that people are going to forget that not 2 weeks prior to WrestleMania, you were thinking Cody might lose.
Mm-hmm.
You were thinking Cody might lose. Hand it to Rock, like Jeff said. Rock, I can't wait to watch that documentary, like Jeff said at the opening of the show, because I really want to see that, with Rock coming in and saying that he wants to play the heel, and Triple H agreeing that at the time was right for him to do it, and him getting involved, and it was beautiful. It was really, really well done. So yeah, it was just amazing. It was really, really just amazing. Bonus Baby said, watching the eclipse. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. You want to know what happened to me? Storm clouds. Right when it was going to happen, we got a rainstorm, and there it goes.
We got a bit of this, Joe. Sad story.
Yes. Yeah. We the eclipse for me was one of these.
Yeah.
That was,
Joe, going back to that moment when Cody was in the ring after he had won, and seeing all the folks put him up on their shoulders, it reminded me of the moment when Dusty won in the NWA, and they put him on their shoulders. It was such a moment. And then listening to that story about the watch in the press conference, dude, I had tears. I was trying to hold them back.
Wrestling is at its best when it hits you in a real life kind of a thing that can hit you in that situation. Yes, absolutely. The spot The Undertaker did was originally going to be Stone Cold, but the reason Stone Cold didn't show up was because he felt the money wasn't right for him, says Brandon. Well, we'll see. I heard differently, Brandon. I heard differently. And I can't say who I heard this from, but I heard that, and I hope that's why I hope these answers are given to us in the documentary, because they say in the documentary that this has been planned since well before the end of last year. And I had heard that that spot was going to be Bray Wyatt. And it would have made 100% sense because Roman took the title from him and called him a freak in a mask. And so that's what I had heard. What I heard from a few people was that was supposed to be Bray, not Stone Cold. So I don't know. We'll see. We may never know. We may find out in a documentary. We may not. So we'll see. But whatever. Cool. WWE having a ding dong, the witch is dead moment with Cody celebration. Yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool. What a week. What a week in wrestling. So, all right, guys. Well, there you go. That is going to do it for us tonight. We still have 115 people watching. Thank you all for joining us for this one tonight. It was a big one. It was a big show. We had a lot to cover. So before we go, again, please make sure that you sub to the channel. If you haven't done so already, make sure you drop a like in the stream for us. We really would appreciate it if you did. And also hit the notification bell to be notified about when we have future content. Remember, we will let you know what's going on with Aew'S and whether Aew'S will be on this week. We'll let you know what day and stuff like that. It should be Tuesday if they're having it. Keep your eyes on that because we will have Kyle Scarborough on that show to show a lot of the stuff, behind the scenes stuff of the drawings and stuff that he did with Bray for his Fiend character. So make sure you join us for that. It's going to be a very special episode of Aew'S. And then also, we've got a double dose of TNA. We've got TNA on Thursday, which is a go-home show for Rebellion. So join us. The cats can't miss. Don't miss that. We will have our Rebellion predictions during that show as well, like we do. So join us for that on Thursday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, Rebellion next Saturday we'll probably start. We usually start a little bit early for that if they're going to have pre-show matches. So probably 7:30, probably.
Yeah, probably 7:30. I'm looking at the card right now, Joe, just to see if we got anything on the countdown. Yeah, countdown starts at 7. Right now we've got 2 matches. We've got Spitfire, that's the team of Danny Luna and Jody Threat going up against Decay. And then we also have ABC and Leon Slater going up against the Rascals and Myron Reed on the countdown show.
Okay, well, maybe we'll have to make it 7. We'll have to see when they're going to start that then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. We'll keep you informed on what we're going to do with that. So make sure to join us for TNA. It's going to be a big weekend for them. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us tonight, and all the people that were interactive in the chat and everything like that. All of you guys, we appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your Sunday night. Have a good Monday. And hopefully we will see you all for the next one. Stay safe. Be kind to one another always. And hopefully we'll see you for our next show, whether it's Aew'S or whether it's TNA. Have a great rest of your night, guys. And we'll talk to you all soon.